The barn door opened the way old doors do, slowly, reluctantly, as if it had been guarding something for a very long time. Inside, dust hung in the air like weather. Light fell through the cracks in the wood in narrow, patient blades, and beneath a canvas tarp, gone soft with age, there was a shape, familiar, sleeping. He pulled the cloth back, just an inch at first, then further. And there she was, a car, forgotten by time, waiting to be remembered. Every old car is a kind of ghost, not haunted exactly, just full of the people who once sat inside her. A father, maybe, at the wheel on a summer evening. A mother, one hand on the dash. Children in the back, arguing over the window. A dog, a thermos, a song on the radio. She had carried them all. And then, one ordinary day that no one thought was the last, she had carried them for the final time. The keys were set down, the tarp was drawn, and the decades began. Restoration begins, always, with taking things apart. It looks, at first, like destruction. It is not. Every bolt is loosened by hand, every panel lifted away. Every small part, the clips, the springs, the nameless bits of brass, is labeled and laid in careful rows on a long wooden bench. By the end of the first week, the car is no longer a car. She is a map of herself. 1,000 pieces, waiting. Then comes the slow work, the work that has no shortcuts. A dented fender, coaxed back into shape by a hammer that has known 40 years of hands. Paint sanded down to bare metal. The engine, opened like a watch, cleaned and reassembled piece by piece. Upholstery restitched, one seam at a time. Chrome polished until it remembers how to shine. This is patience as devotion, a quiet argument against forgetting. And then, one morning, there is nothing left to do but try. The key slides in. His hand pauses. The workshop, for a moment, is completely still. He turns it. A cough. A silence. Another cough. And then, from somewhere deep inside her, an engine remembers what an engine is. She roars. Alive again. The road, when she meets it, seems almost surprised, as if it, too, had been waiting. She moves the way old cars move, heavy, honest, unhurried. Chrome catching the sun, tires humming a low, familiar song. In the mirror, the barn grows small behind her. We tell ourselves we are restoring machines, metal, rubber, glass. But that is not quite the truth. To restore an old car is to restore a Sunday drive, a father's hands, a voice in the passenger seat that we haven't heard in years. It is to restore memory itself. These objects outlive us. That is their strange and quiet gift. And somewhere, in a barn we haven't found yet, another one is waiting, beneath a tarp, in the dust, for the door to open again. Years pass, the way years do, quietly and all at once. The workshop grows a little dustier. The hands that once worked the hammer grow slower, then still. And the car he brought back to life sits under a fresh tarp now, in a new barn, waiting the way old cars have always waited. On a bright morning in a season he would have loved, a girl of 17 walks up to a barn door she has not opened before. Her grandfather's barn, her grandfather's key, warm in her palm. She stands there for a long moment, listening to nothing in particular. Then she pushes. The door opens the way old doors do, slowly, reluctantly. And inside, the light falls in the same narrow, patient blades, as if it had been practicing all these years for her. She pulls the tarp back, just an inch at first, then further. And there it is, Not the car he restored, but another, older, rougher. A project he never got to. A shape beneath the dust, familiar in a way she cannot quite explain, though no one ever sat her down and taught her how to love it. That is the secret of these machines. No one is taught. It arrives instead like weather. In the smell of oil on a father's shirt. In a photograph of a grandfather leaning into an engine bay, laughing. In a Sunday drive you were too young to remember, and somehow remember anyway. She runs her hand along the fender. She finds in the glove box a note in his handwriting. 3 words and a wrench size. She smiles. And somewhere in the quiet of the barn, the work begins again. The door has opened, the tarp is drawn back, and the long, loving argument against forgetting carries on. In younger hands now, but the same hands really. The same hands all along. The first days are the hardest. She stands in the barn with a wrench in her hand and a book open on the fender, and the car, patient, enormous, unimpressed, waits for her to begin. She does not know at first what she is doing. A bolt turns the wrong way, a gasket tears, a knuckle finds an edge it did not see and blooms red across the back of her hand. She swears, softly, the way he used to. She calls the old men, her grandfather's friends, scattered now across small towns and quiet afternoons. They answer on the second ring. They remember her name. They tell her, kindly, slowly, which way is tight and which way is loose, and how to listen for the sound a good engine makes when it is nearly ready to forgive you. She watches videos late into the night. She learns the names of things: timing chain, feeler gauge, torque in foot-pounds measured out like a prayer. The barn light stays on long after the house has gone dark. And slowly, the way all real things happen, the car begins to yield. A bolt turns clean. A panel settles into place. Her hands, which had been guessing, begin to know. One afternoon, reaching deep beneath the passenger seat for a fallen socket, her fingers close on something else. A photograph, curled at the edges. A young man she almost recognizes, standing beside this same car when it was new. And beside him, a woman she has never seen, laughing, one hand raised against the sun. On the back, in his handwriting, a date, a place, and a name that is not her grandmother's. A small, folded ticket stub. A life, or a piece of one, she was never told. She sits a long time in the driver's seat holding it. Not hurt, not angry, only quieter than before. The people we love are longer than we know. They begin before us and continue past us and carry rooms inside them we are never given the key to. She puts the photograph in the glove box beside the note. 2 small papers, 2 small pieces of a man. And she goes back to work. Because this, she is beginning to understand, is what restoration really is. Not the metal, not the chrome. The slow, surprised discovery that in mending an old and loved thing, you are, quietly, becoming someone new.